Hi there folks, good to catch up again. So today I found myself on the outskirts of Aviemore and I'm just leaving Inverjury where you have the Roffey Marcus Visitor Centre. Now the plan today is to do, well, over the next 3 days just to say, a wee mini adventure into the Cairngorms. This is going to be a little bit off script as I'm not doing a standardised trail route. So I'm going to be heading up into the hills with a plan of doing obviously a couple of Munros while I'm at it, then coming back eventually through the beautiful Glen Feshie. So what we'll do, we'll get a few more clicks along the trail done and we're heading towards Loch Einich and we'll catch up there, speaking a wee bit. So if you look behind me, you'll see the castle there. It used to be a former stronghold of Clan Grant, though it had been owned by previous clans. Now it was probably most noticeable after that time period for a place for where the ospreys used to nest. But unfortunately they went through a phase of hunting ospreys and they've since not nested there. They are obviously trying to revive population in the Highlands, and hopefully that takes fruit. So we're finally starting to move away from Loch Einich. Wonderful track going all the way around the loch. That in itself is a nice walk, but obviously at this time of year, as you can imagine, it's quite busy. So now finally on a single track going through the forest and hopefully get away from some of the funfair and all the people. Finally get a little bit of solitude. Now this track I'm going along at the moment, I went along it before when I walked down to Feshie Bridge, or I should say vice versa, as I was doing East Highland Way. So along here I think there is a bothy, small bothy you can pop off of that, and I also need to get some water from one of the streams. So we'll get that done as soon as we can. Anyway, we'll move along and we'll catch up further along the trail. So I managed to get my water filled up just at a small ford section. Probably not the best source of water, but it's clean enough and it'll do. And likewise I've got my filter. Just as I come past that, not too far, you'll come to this sort of Y-shaped junction, and you'll come on this very slender hill track. which will lead you up into the mountain that we're going to try and ascend this afternoon. Now, I believe it's called Craig Do, but what we're actually looking for is a monument which is on top of the hill called the Argyll Stone. Hopefully we'll be able to find it, and I'll tell you a little bit about the history when you get there. And we've got a bit of an ascent to do. We've got about 800 metres, so it's not going to be an easy wee hike, though I had planned over these few days to take it a little bit easier. And I brought down the days to roughly about 10 miles, just so I can actually properly take in everything. Not feel like I'm actually in a rush, but as I do on some occasions. Anyway, we'll move up this track as far as we can, and we'll take things from there. So just getting towards the end of this forest section of the trail. Really nice. Always fun when you go on a trail that you know it's not very well used. But yeah, it is boggy in sections. Obviously there's a little bit of heavier bashing on the way up. But certainly, yeah, a bit of a slog. I'm not going to lie, I think I'm about 50 shades of red just coming up that bit. Anyway, we shall move on, and hopefully we'll be out of this forest shortly. So we're still climbing up through this gorge. It's always quite hard to actually tell how much progress you're making without actually looking at your map. You've got, obviously, you can't really see to either side of you when you're in a gorge, and it is yeah, a lot of technical scrambling actually coming up this path. It's certainly grade 1, and obviously a lot of loose ground as well. That's not including the boggy sections. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this, even if my face says otherwise. So we'll keep moving on, and hopefully there'll be light at the end of the tunnel. So finally arrived at the Argyll Stone. I'm going to leave below a bit of the history about it, but as you can see, it is flowing absolutely hooly at the moment. So I'm going to make way back down to the plateau, where I'm going to get my tent pitched up. I'm going to show you some views from the summit through here. And ideally I'll probably come back tomorrow, hopefully once the wind's died down. Good morning, folks. It's just gone past 6 in the morning, and today we woke up to a summit view. The sun is trying to break through, but still quite a lot of clouds in the skies. But last night things did not go according to plan. I went down to the plateau after being up at the Argyll Stone and tried to get my tent pitched in a nice sort of flat plateau, and it was just not taking. The ground was just far too sandy. So I then had the option is come off the hill because of the strong winds and trying to get pitched up somewhere else, or I took another option. Unfortunately, there was a nice outcrop of stones just going off the path leading up to the Argyll Stone, where there was this nice stone shelter So I decided just to get my bivvy bag out and make in for the night. It wasn't too bad, to be honest. It was quite warm once you're out the wind. So we're going to head off today to do our first Munro and do, I think it's Sgor Gaoith. So we'll head up there. At the moment it looks like it's covered in clouds at the summit, but I've been watching it for the last hour or so and we have been getting some clear spells. So we're just going to push on and make the best that we can with this strong wind. The wind itself was meant to have died down to about 70 miles per hour, and that clearly has not taken place. Still about 40 miles per hour wind according to my gauge. So yeah, it'll make things a little bit more challenging, but you know, it's not always meant to be easy. So we'll crack on with it. So if we look ahead, you should roughly see a path that is going to lead us up to the top of Sgor Gaoith. Even though we can't see summit at the moment. Well, that's fine. I've just come past a lot of these other sort of Arctic-tundra stones that are outlying. And I was just wondering about these Cairngorms in the past. We took shelter near that Gaoith stone. Did they used to be the same area that I was in last night? Anyway, we'll move on. Just going along this reasonably flat plateau, and just ahead of us we can see a peak of Sgor Gaoith, and if you're lucky and this clag sort of clears up on the top, we may actually get some decent views. And here we are at the summit of Sgor Gaoith. Oh, as you can tell, the wind is still blowing, but the views up here are absolutely spectacular. Oh, it's giving me ideas for some other walks, and I can tell you that. Especially going down to that loch side that you just seen in the previous video, or section I should say. And you can actually see it's got the sort of green sort of turquoise effect to it. Oh, throat's getting a little bit dry, definitely need a drink. So from here on in it's going to be a lot of plateau walking. So I'm going to come off this exposed area, stop for a wee break, and more than likely hydrate, and we'll catch up in shortly. So it looks like we're on a relatively good trail path at the moment as we go along the plateau towards our next Munro for the day, and it should be flat for a good part of it. I think that most of our heavy ascent's been over and done with as we've climbed our highest Munro. Now our next Munro, I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of this one, so I'll be certainly putting the name on the screen, is Mullach Clach. It's not got as probably as glamorous a sort of peak as this Sgor Gaoith that we've just been on, nor the dramatic backdrop, but it certainly is far easier to approach. So we'll move along, and I think I can see probably the first walker for the day ahead of me. Oh, stunning up here, absolutely stunning. And the sun's actually starting to break through as well. The wind has died off a little bit. And while I'm looking around this area, I'm often of a mind with planning, doing a coast to coast. And I'm thinking about possibly cutting through this section of the Cairngorms to do that. So when I get back to the house, now I've actually seen the land up close and personal, I might be able to put some further thought into that. Anyway, we'll move along, a little bit less talking and some more walking from me. So since we've left Sgor Gaoith, all the way along the track, it's actually been very well marked of cairnstones. Now at the moment, obviously, there's good ATV paths and trails to follow. But obviously, come winter time, these cairnstones can certainly become very helpful. So we're just coming off the last of the single track. I'm just going to start heading up in this well-maintained 4x4 track. We're cutting in towards the summit, which is only about a 10-minute walk at tops. Now right on the summit I can actually even see them. There's actually a large herd of deer with plenty of large stags. So I'm going to try and be quiet and hopefully try and get some decent footage. Now I'll trail along from Sgor Gaoith. Most of the path was quite recognisable. There were odd patches where, yeah, there's a bit more trying. Just have to watch your map skills and use your GPS to correct. But some spectacular views along the way, which I've already seen. Anyway, we'll push further forward and we'll get to this last summit. And our final Munro for the day. Boy, it's turning out to be beautiful. There's that nice sort of gentle breeze, sun's out. I'm looking back towards the Cairngorms to where Cairn Engine's Peak, and they're going to have beautiful views up there today when they're up there. And from here where you are, you can look all the way back to Sgor Gaoith and see just what a wonderful pinnacle that is. So I'm up here. I'm going to probably take a few minutes to take it all in, and then we're going to be heading down the track into Glen Feshie. We're going to go look for somewhere to get pitched up for the night. So we've just come off the hillside, and the plan at the moment is to head towards, it's informally called Glen Feshie Bothy. That's not its proper name, I'll put that down on the screen. So obviously I will be heading in a more northerly direction back to Aviemore tomorrow, but we are starting to head in a more southerly direction. It's not, it's a short walk, it's maybe about 5 minutes from here, hence the reason why I've actually added it. Now the Bothy itself is one of the nicest bothies in the Cairngorms, and I think I'll add a link to the particular bothy from the NBA page down below so you can check out yourself. There's a bit of a controversy regarding it because there is a living resident there. Different walkers have different opinions regarding this. Some feel that they're not welcome when he's there. Others say he's a really nice old guy and very informative about the area. So I've not met him, and since I'm unlikely to use the bothy at any time soon, I'll leave it for other people to decide. Anyway, we're going to make our way along there. There's some good areas to get pitched, and there's a small water source as well, which is very nearby to it as well. So we'll catch up as we get along there. Good morning, folks. We're off to an early start. It's just going on after 6:30 in the morning, and today we're heading back towards Aviemore. Now this is one of the longer sections, as in distance anyway, coming on just under 15 miles, but this will take maybe about 6 hours. But keep in mind, most of this is going to be on good track. It's pretty much flat elevation, so you could probably do it less than 6 hours if you're actually getting a good pace on. But I'm going to be filming obviously today, so I'm just going to be taking it easy. My final destination is actually going to be the Coiling Bridge Hotel, so I won't be going directly into Aviemore. Now, my stay last night outside the Bothy, I had very mixed feelings regarding it. And last night I didn't do any filming until I got up this morning. I witnessed the caretaker of the property, mind I was talking about this yesterday, dealing with 4 young female hikers, and he just came across his mannerism when he was talking to them. He was very officious. Though he might have had a point about how they were using the toilet facilities, there were just different ways he could have went about that. I went out for a walk later on and stumbled across him, even though I was trying to avoid him. Spoke to him, and the way he talked to me as well, it was very much, you know, rather than having just a nice conversation, finding out what you're doing, things like that, it was very much like you were getting interrogated, wanting to know what you're doing on his land, sort of thing. And the fact that he also came out with the term, "I've been watching you," and I was like, all right, okay. Bit strange. So I was like, all right, first impressions certainly weren't good. I got up this morning, yet again, the same gentleman was around. Had a conversation with him today, and it was like night and day, you know, talking to him. He was far more relaxed, far more civil. He was just talking a little bit about his lifestyle and things like that, living in the Bothy. And he certainly does. I'll give him his due. The area is very nicely kept, so there's certainly bonuses to having someone living in, I suppose, in a Bothy, whether you agree with that or not. So yeah, strange turn of events. So it's just one of these things, you'll just have to take them as you come across them, I suppose. Anyway, I'm heading along this track along Glen Feshie. It's going to be quite a bit of forest walking, so probably won't necessarily be doing too much filming of that, but there are some key points along the way that I do want to show you. Anyway, we'll move a little bit along the trail and shorten this intro. So we're just coming off the main track and we're heading up into this hill path. Now, I've done this before. I was doing the Scottish National Trail. It's certainly more enjoyable than just staying on the wide path. You'll get to see a lot more. Anyway, we'll move on. So as you go through these parts, you're going to come across quite a lot of wild Highland cattle just roaming about. Now, I know a lot of people have phobia regarding cattle. I worked in the farm during my teenage years to try and make some extra money, and one of the things we did have on the farm was cattle, so at least it gave me some sort of understanding and respect for them. Now, the one I came across earlier on, you'll actually see there was a device around, a collar around its neck. Now, this is designed very similar to the idea of just having a fenced off area, but imagine it works in some form of infrared sort of beacon. So when the cattle gets near to a certain area, which it's not meant to cross, it will alarm, giving the cattle an audio warning not to go any further. And if they do try and go across the line, my understanding is it will give them a slight shock. As for approaching cattle, if you can, my advice is obviously try and take a wide berth around them, especially if they've got calves. Always be wary, looking out for the bulls. Now, if you're on a singular path like I was earlier on, and there wasn't really much room to navigate around the cow, what you would just do is just walk very slowly, and I guarantee on most occasions they will walk away from you. So where we last caught up, we had a bit of road walking to do, which led us into Feshie Bridge. Now, when you get to Feshie Bridge, there are some alternative paths that you can take, which go along the river. The upper paths, there's a lot of trees that are falling down there, as I found out. So my shortcut ended up being about 10 minutes longer. But once I got down to the bridge itself, This is the first time I've went down there. It's actually been busy. There's a lot of people. I had one group further up the river, just under the bridge, swimming, and a large group of teens just down in this sort of nice tranquil section of water, which I really wanted to get some footage of. But I've done the best I can. These things can't be helped. It is a sort of summer month, and there's a youth training centre in the Feshie Bridge itself, so that's kind of to be expected. Anyway, so we're on the home stretch now. A lot of forest walking to be done as we head back towards Aviemore. I, for one, am actually quite glad to be back in the forest, because though it might seem overly sunny, it is absolutely cooking. I mean, I go and put my hands on any of like my camera, my GPS device, they're all heating up. So we're finally going on to the moorland path, and it's a lot more shaded coming off the main track. Now we're heading back towards Loch Einich. Hopefully we'll get there probably in the next half hour or so. But I've certainly found today really taxing with the heat. Last night it was warm up until about midnight. I really didn't get much sleep last night, so energy levels today are really down. I had to stop for more breaks than I normally would. Keep in mind, this is roughly a section of track I've already done before previously, and I'm lucky if I even stopped for a couple of breaks on it. Probably had about 4 or 5 in comparison. So I'm just going to be taking it easy, just being mindful of that, and just trying to keep hydrated as I go along. Well folks, we've just come to the end of our 3-day excursion into the Cairngorms. I hope you've enjoyed it and taken something away from it. As you can see, I'm absolutely shattered. I can do long trails, but the one thing that does get me every time is the heat. I do not do so well on it. Anyway, if you have enjoyed it, please leave a like, and I'd really appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button. Every little bit helps. Anyway, until our next adventure, stay safe out there,